Microsoft is one of the most successful tech companies in history, with a market capitalization of just about $2 trillion. Its products are used by hundreds of millions of people every day, and its logo is one of the most recognized around the world. In this video on Microsoft's company story, we explore Microsoft's earliest days and their rise to become the tech giants we know today. Before we continue, please subscribe to our YouTube channel by hitting the subscribe button below to get a notification on our next video. Microsoft is a multinational computer technology corporation. It was founded on April 4, 1975, by Bill Gates and Paul Allen in Albuquerque, New Mexico. At a time when most Americans use typewriters, the childhood friends Bill Gates and Paul Allen started Microsoft, a company that makes computer software. They were initially based in Albuquerque, New Mexico, then Microsoft relocated to Washington State in 1979, and steadily grew to become a major multinational technology corporation. Its current best-selling products are the Microsoft Windows operating system, Microsoft Office, a suite of productivity software, Xbox, a line of entertainment of games, music, and video, Bing, a line of search engines, and Microsoft Azure, a cloud services platform. Bill Gates and Paul Allen were passionate programming enthusiasts from a young age. They continued to improve their existing skills to produce their programming language, Microsoft Basic, based on the existing language BASIC. Then Gates was an undergraduate at Harvard University, and Allen worked as a computer programmer for Honeywell Incorporated. Allen, who was 22 years old, purchased a copy of the January edition of Popular Electronics. And on the front cover was an image of the world's first mini-computer kit, the Altair 8800 microcomputer. Allen read the related article, and the idea for Microsoft came in a moment of inspiration for him. With his copy of Popular Electronics in hand, he decided to visit his school friend Bill Gates in Courier House at Harvard College. They had been friends since their time at Lakeside School, a private preparatory school in Seattle, and shared a passion for computers and programming. Allen pitched his idea to Gates to adapt the beginner's all-purpose symbolic instruction code, BASIC, for the Altair 8800. Gates was impressed and liked the idea. He later quit Harvard to pursue their business idea. At that time, microcomputers like the Altair 8800 executed source code provided by the machine's compiler, but lacked an interpreter. Paul Allen proposed using BASIC to develop such an interpreter. Taking around 8 weeks to compile with their pitch and interpreter prototype completed, Gates called Altair manufacturer Micro Instrumentation and Telemetry Systems, MITS, the company that built the Altair 8800 microcomputer, offering to demonstrate the implementation. Ed Roberts, the founder of MITS, agreed to the meeting, loved what he saw, and agreed to distribute a new machine which included their software Altair Basic. That year, Microsoft was officially registered as a company. The name Microsoft was created by Allen as a combination of microcomputer and software. They later decided to open their first international office in Japan, called ASCII Microsoft, now called Microsoft Japan, on November 1, 1978. 2 years later, on January 1, 1979, the company relocated to Bellevue, Washington, and eventually incorporated as Microsoft Incorporated on June 25, 1981. Bill Gates would take on the role of president of the company and chairman of the board, and Paul Allen became the company's executive vice president. IBM first came up to Microsoft about its upcoming IBM personal computer, IBM PC, in July 1980. On August 12, 1981, IBM awarded a contract to Microsoft to provide a version of the CP/M operating system that would be used in the IBM PC. When the IBM PC debuted, Microsoft was the only company that offered operating systems, programming language, and application software for the new computer. The IBM PC-DOS is also known as MS-DOS. On November 20, 1985, Microsoft released its first retail version of Microsoft Windows, Windows 1.0, originally a graphical extension for its MS-DOS operating system. Microsoft moved once again, this time to their headquarters in a corporate office campus in Redmond, Washington on February 16, 1986. The company issues its IPO on March 13, 1986, raising $61 million at $21 per share. By the end of the trading day, the price had risen to $28. It was on the 8th of August 1989 that Microsoft introduced the earliest version of the Microsoft Office, its most successful Office product. Unlike the model of Microsoft Works, Microsoft Office was a bundle of separate Office productivity applications, such as Microsoft Word, Microsoft Excel, and so forth. On May 22, 1990, Microsoft launched Windows 3.0. The new version of Microsoft's operating system had new features such as streamlined graphic user interface GUI and improved protected mode ability for the Intel 386 processor. It sold over 100,000 copies in 2 weeks and went on to sell well over 2 million copies. August 24, 1995 saw Microsoft officially launch its innovative Windows 95. It was the new version of the company's flagship operating system, which featured a completely new user interface, including a novel Start button. More than 1 million copies were sold in the first 4 days after its release. Windows 95 was released without a web browser, as Microsoft had not yet developed one. Subsequently, they approached Spyglass to license their browser like Internet Explorer, which they eventually bundled for free with the operating system. So, Internet Explorer was first included in the Windows 95 Plus pack. Interestingly, in October 1997, the Justice Department filed a motion in the Federal District Court in which they stated that Microsoft had violated an agreement signed in 1994 and asked the court to stop the bundling of Internet Explorer with Windows. The year 1998 was noteworthy in Microsoft's history, with Bill Gates appointing Steve Ballmer as president of Microsoft while remaining as chair and CEO himself. In that same year, the company released an update to the consumer version of Windows, Windows 98. This new Windows 98 had new features such as support for multiple displays. Windows 2000 was launched on February 17, 2000. The operating system was extremely good and had tons of application support and very solid drivers. Many businesses stuck with it for many years until they had to upgrade. On September 14, 2000, Windows Me, or Windows Millennium Edition, was launched. It was the last of the MS-DOS-based Windows operating systems. It sported several new features such as enhanced multimedia abilities and consumer-oriented PC maintenance options. However, it is widely considered slower and more unstable than most of the new hardware coming onto the market at the time, with which it was also often incompatible. Microsoft officially launched Windows XP and Office XP in 2001. This version aimed to incorporate the features of both its business and home product lines. The release involved an updated version of the Windows 2000 kernel, improved DOS emulation abilities, and many of the home user features found in previous consumer versions. XP introduced a new graphical user interface, the first such change since Windows 95. In November 2001, Microsoft launched the Xbox game console. Though it was a big gamble in a market dominated by Sega, Nintendo, and Sony, the Xbox would stand the test of time, finishing behind the dominant PlayStation 2 with 24 million units sold compared to 155 million overall units. On June 15, 2006, Bill Gates announced his plans for a 2-year transition period out of a day-to-day role with Microsoft until July 31, 2008. He continued in his role as the company's chairman, head of the board of directors, and advisor on key projects. The 30th of January 2007 saw Microsoft launch Windows Vista and the 2007 Microsoft Office suite to consumers worldwide. The former had mixed reviews as it was said to be heavy and required large amounts of power to run the desktop widgets and the arrow theme, while the latter was widely considered a great upgrade of its reliable forerunner. Microsoft unveiled Windows Server 2008, SQL Server 2008, and Visual Studio 2008 in February, many of which are still in use today. Later that year, Bill Gates transitioned from his daily role at Microsoft to spend more time on his work at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. On May 10, 2011, the company acquired Skype Technologies for $8.5 billion. Following the release of Windows Phone in November of 2010, Microsoft underwent a steady rebranding of its product range. The corporation's logos, products, services, and websites throughout 2011 and 2012. Microsoft previewed Windows 8, an operating system designed for both personal computers and tablet computers in Taipei in June 2011. 1 year later, Microsoft paid $1.2 billion to buy the social networking service for private communication within organizations, Yammer. Microsoft launched Windows Server 2012 and Visual Studio 2012 in September of 2012. October 26, 2012, Microsoft launched Windows 8, and the Microsoft Surface. 3 days later, Windows Phone 8 was launched. The first half of the year 2013 saw the launch of Office 2013, Outlook.com, and the expansion of Office 365, as well as the unveiling of its amazing Xbox One. On September 3, 2013, Microsoft announced the decision to acquire Nokia's devices and license Nokia's patents and mapping services for $7 billion. As a result of the maturing PC business, in July 2013, Microsoft announced that it would reorganize the business into 4 new business divisions by function: operating system, apps, cloud, and devices. All previous divisions were diluted into new divisions without any workforce cuts. The year ended with the launch of Windows 8.1, Surface 2 and Surface Pro 2, and Xbox One. 2014 started with the stepping down of Steve Ballmer as CEO of Microsoft and the appointment of Satya Nadella, who previously led Microsoft's Cloud and Enterprise division, on the 4th of February. That day, John W. Thompson took on the role of chairman, with Bill Gates stepping down from the position to continue as a technology advisor. Microsoft launched Office for iPad and completed the acquisition of the Nokia devices and services business for $7.2 billion, all in the first quarter. In the second half, Microsoft launched Surface Pro 3 and announced Office apps for Android tablets. On January 21, 2015, Microsoft announced the release of their first interactive whiteboard, Microsoft Surface Hub, which is part of the Surface family. On July 29, 2015, Microsoft released the next version of the Windows operating system, Windows 10. Windows 10 was stable and fast and came with a variety of handy features and inbuilt antivirus gear. The successor to Windows Phone 8.1, Windows 10 Mobile, was released November 20, 2015. In Q1 2015, Microsoft was the third largest maker of mobile phones, selling 33 million units. The last quarter of 2015 saw Microsoft launch Office 2016 and announce the Surface Book, Surface Pro 4, Microsoft Band 2, Lumia 950, and Lumia 95 XL. They also opened a flagship store in New York City and Sydney, Australia, to expand their physical presence around the world. By January 2016, Microsoft's share of the US smartphone market was 2.7%. In June, Microsoft announced a project named Microsoft Azure Information Protection. It was aimed to help enterprises protect their data as it moved between servers and devices. The server sibling to Windows 10, Windows Server 2016, was released in September 2016. In November 2016, Microsoft joined the Linux Foundation as a platinum member during Microsoft's Connect, a developer event in New York. Microsoft researchers make significant progress when they achieved human parity in conversational speech recognition in October 2016. They also introduced Surface Studio, Surface Dial, the new Surface Book, and Windows 10 Creators Update. The year was wrapped up with the completion of the acquisition of LinkedIn. In the first half of 2017, Microsoft showcased Intune for Education, a new cloud-based application and device management service for the education sector. This was done at the BET 2017 Education Technology Conference in London. Microsoft also introduces new technology for education, including Windows 10s, new Surface laptop, and Microsoft Teams for classrooms. On October 8, 2017, it was announced that work on Windows 10 Mobile was drawing to a close due to lack of market penetration and resultant lack of interest from app developers. It was about the same time that mixed reality headsets become available and Surface Book 2 was announced. Microsoft announced major renovation works to its Redmond campus and sealed the month with the release of Xbox One X in November 2017. In December, Microsoft had a world-class sustainable Silicon Valley campus. The campus in Dublin, Ireland was opened at the beginning of 2018, just before the announcement of Surface Hub 2 and the unveiling of the Xbox Adaptive Controller. Later in June 2018, the company commenced its Project Natick, an initiative to place data centers on the ocean floor and take advantage of its near-limitless cooling capacity. By October 2018, GitHub was bought out by Microsoft. And Microsoft co-founder Paul Allen died at the age of 65 on October 15, 2018, after complications of non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. In November 2018, Microsoft agreed to supply 100,000 HoloLens headsets to the United States military to increase lethality by enhancing the ability to detect, decide, and engage before the enemy. In January 2019, Microsoft announced that support for Windows 10 Mobile would end on December 10, 2019. Windows 10 Mobile users would have to migrate to iOS or Android phones. In April 2019, the company suffers a colossal security breach of its webmail services. This included their Hotmail and MSN services. Interestingly, the company strived to become one of only a handful to reach a market value of $1 trillion. May 2019 saw the collaboration between Starbucks and Microsoft to create a machine learning app to give customers personalized suggestions for foods and drinks. The end of the year saw the opening of yet another flagship store in London, as well as the investment of around $1 billion in the OpenAI partnership. In October 2019, Microsoft announced the release of 5 Surface products for late 2019, plus 2 new dual-screen devices, Surface Neo and Surface Duo, slated for late 2020. The year came to an end with the announcement of the highly anticipated Xbox Series X, scheduled to be released in late 2020. 2020 commenced with Microsoft announcing its grand vision of becoming carbon negative by 2030. Later in the year, Microsoft introduced the new Microsoft 365 personal and family subscriptions, and announced that it is to close all but a select few of its stores around the world. What do you think about Microsoft's company story? Thanks for watching this video. Please share your opinions in the comments section below, and remember to click the subscribe button to be the first person to watch new videos on this channel.